G'day, welcome to today's episode, Functional Bodybuilding. My name is David Granada from Goliath Performance, and we're just going to get straight into how I use functional bodybuilding for myself and obviously dealing with clients and also working out, building workouts and programs around that as well. I am a firm believer in most people are sort of after the same goals as when you mention like putting on muscle mass, especially with the ladies. They think like they're going to turn into the Incredible Hulk and put on too much muscle mass to deal with that they're after. So this is how I sort of structure that in a program. Why I use that for myself as well to be functional, but also use a form of bodybuilding with the workouts and training that I do, and how I obviously structure that out when doing a workout or a session for someone else that's probably just starting out as a beginner. Because if a beginner is just starting out with their workouts, most of the time they're doing a 3 to 10 workouts program, and that is a form of bodybuilding on its own. So starting off, so with functional bodybuilding, it's all about putting on muscle mass, but we're talking about functional muscle mass, so not useless mass that just sits there and looks great and amazing. So the big bouldering muscles, that's not what I'm about. That's not what I am talking about. If that's you, that's great. For myself, though, we're talking about being functional with your everyday life, being able to lift efficiently, being able to run, move, bend over, and be able to touch your toes, be flexible with your mobility and your movements while putting on as much muscle mass as you can. That is functional. So it's functional movements that obviously helps you out with your everyday life. Now, that's a first step there, but also looking into different sports. So with my experience when I first started boxing for myself, I was sitting at around 100 kilos. Being in the super heavyweight class, I wanted to put on as much mass as I could. So obviously be heavier and more efficient. So I guess going against heavier blokes than me, which most of them were. I was sort of more of a lighter weight. And I actually had the choice. My coach, when I first started, he always told me, why don't I go down to the next weight category, which is below 91 kilos in the light heavyweight or the cruiserweight division. So I had to lose 10 kilos. For me, I was like, I just want to be as, be as powerful as I can with what body weight I'm currently at. And if I could put on more muscle mass, functional muscle mass, that would help me to be more powerful, more efficient, then I'll definitely go for that. So that's exactly what I did. Got up to 110 kilos quite easily. I did use a DEXA scan to track everything, how I was going. But the only thing, if looking back at that, was my diet wasn't the best. So the diet didn't really reflect in terms of how much weight I put on and how much body fat I also slapped on my body as well. So looking back at that would have been one thing to change would have been the diet to keep it at a strict sort of level in terms of calories and everything else to track. So I don't sort of put on that extra body fat, which is very hard to actually do. To do those two things, or people want to lose body fat, they just want to put on muscle. When you think about it, it's quite hard in most cases. It's something that you need to track everything that you do in terms of your workout that you are doing, but also how much you're putting into your body, how much you're feeding your engine to grow and to be efficient with what you're doing. So that's the only thing I would change going back to that. I currently sit at about 113 kilos, and I'm happy there. But I'm also thinking of maybe going back down to 100 kilos and then try and do it again for myself, which would be great, and really knuckle down on the diet. But being a heavier bloke, I do understand the amount, the difference in terms of someone half my weight, half my size, how much less they burn in terms of doing the exact same workout if they could keep up with the same intensity. I think that's why there's a saying of the more muscle you put on, the easier it is to lose body fat or burn extra energy calories going out because you're using a lot more in that same workout than someone else, or even if it was yourself that was lighter, with less muscle, that is, not body fat. But if you have now that extra muscle, the extra power, the extra intensity, even the fitness, so if you're able to put in more intensity, you're going to be burning so much more with that same workout. So that's the benefit of slapping on more muscle mass that aids you to produce a higher output towards your workout. Now, if your workout is just sitting on your ass and doing 10 reps, and then in between you're jumping on your phone for 2 to 5 minutes, or if you're in a gym environment where you're spending most of the time talking to people, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 90 to 100% maximum effort workouts where you're putting everything into it. If you're looking at the RPE, you're looking at, 9 to 10. It's the most that you can actually put out to that, yeah, towards that in that workout. That's what I'm talking about. So if you can look into, one way is like your heart rate. So you can look into tracking how you are going in terms of how much effort you really put into each workout. It's a good way to look at that. Now, when it comes to designing a program, the first one that I started off as when I was like 14, 15, when I first started, was it used to be called like a German max OT or something, but it's the 5x5. And if you don't know what that is, that's 5 reps with 5 sets for that particular um, workout, or that particular set, that working set. So let's say you're doing a back squat. You're going to do 5 reps at your maximum. You're probably looking at easy 70 to 80% of what your one RM is, so 1 rep max. Then you're doing 5 sets of that. That is a shitload of volume. There's a lot going into just that one set. Then you can probably do maybe 5 different exercises. You can do it obviously on that same muscle group if you wanted to, or you can do some sort of functional type of whole body workout. And that there, to me, like, it's one of the oldest traditional ways of trying to put on strength, size, and building up your power, but also like sticking to the whole idea that you're doing a workout and you want to gain as much size that helps with your functional sort of performance. So when doing a program, that's what I look at. What I do at the moment, I sort of go down to 4. So I'm doing 4 reps. Somehow it's just become something that I really have tuned into. And I'll probably go for about 4 sets as well with that one movement. And over time, I've noticed like my strength increases at a relatively good rate, but also I find it's very safe for me to stick to that. And that's what I really enjoy, really like to even just maintain my current size. I no longer am doing any type of supersets or bodybuilding, traditional bodybuilding workouts. I'm just sticking to one maximum lift where it's like four reps with the maximum load that I can possibly do for 4, and doing about 4 sets though. So that's a grueling part, is doing it back to back. And just on that, there is a way of doing functional bodybuilding where it becomes like an aerobic type workout. And basically what you're looking at in terms of your heart rate, I would say you're going around zone 2. If you don't know what zone 2 is, it's something that's become quite popular. I try to get into that myself and I can see the benefits from that. Zone 2 is roughly around, I would say, 100 beats per minute to about 130. So you're not going past 130, you're not going up to 150. That becomes a whole different type of workout. But you're keeping the rest periods to a minimal. You're keeping them very, very small and short. And one way to do that, one way I do that anyway, is looking at supersets. You're doing like a minimum of 3 to 4 different exercises that you can do. And there is no rest in between each one, obviously, because it's a superset. But then the rest between that round, so that whole set of the 4 exercises, you only want like a max of 20 to 30 seconds. Then you're going back into doing that same working set. That there becomes an aerobic workout because your heart rate's gonna, like I just said, it's gonna be at a level of around, I would say, 120 beats per minute. And you've only got that short rest really to just breathe, take a few drinks of water, and you're straight into the next set. I think it's a great way to work out and train in terms of not only just being able to do a form of bodybuilding, but also looking at getting yourself, your heart rate up and keeping it nice and high so it becomes like a cardiovascular type workout. And it's functional, it's good, it's fun, it's quite interesting and intense. And for me personally, that's what I like. I'd rather do that than, like I said, the other options out there. With the functional bodybuilding as well, just the type of exercises that are the go-to for me. Obviously, we all know about the, the complex movements, the squat, deadlift, and the bench press, but also looking at more of power movements. It's very similar to doing like a power type of workout. So instead of like functional bodybuilding, it becomes like a power bodybuilding type workout. So you're throwing in a very explosive, short, and fast movement in there that you can obviously have back to back with a more slower strength based movement. One I was just doing this morning anyway was like a med ball slam. So I'm slamming the ball as hard and as fast as I possibly can. So that is maximum power. It's only with like 4 kilos. It's actually a dead ball. So you slam it, pick it up, and go again. But then I'm doubling up with that with a bent over row with a barbell, which has roughly about, I think it was about 90 kilos on there. So I was only doing 4 reps with that. And I like that sort of combination where one of them is the vertical, the vertical going down as hard as I can with the med ball slam. And then I'm going very slow with the strength training with the, well, what's that? That's a horizontal pull. So using them both together with the different planes of movements, back to back though. So that's a good way to do it in terms of putting in a power movement in there. I don't think most of us do that enough. Like something that's amazing and great. I'm getting a lot of older clients, older people to start implementing in their own workouts, and that is box jumps. The benefits from a box jump, you're looking at obviously building power in your in your lower body, but there's a lot of confidence involved. There's a lot of coordination that is required to do a box jump. Doesn't have to be like at the super highest level that you can go, but even just getting yourself up a higher level, controlling the balance and repeating that probably about four to 6 times. So it's not like a high rep range type of movements, but having a box jump as well with like a barbell squat after it. Again, that's a great sort of like combination if you want to work on your power, maximum power effort, and then a very slow type of strength movement with that as well together. So you're doing that back to back. There's no rest in between when you transition from one to the other. And that's how I sort of see that as well. So you're doing extremely high functional movements combined with extremely high like strength, maximum strength output workouts and putting them together. It's one way to look good, feel good, move good, and perform at your best. So don't have to be competing or being an athlete or anything like that, but you're just trying to like be at your maximum effort in terms of your everyday life. So you just, you're at your peak performance with how best that you can perform, adding those type of workouts and movements into your programs or your workouts. So that's pretty much it for today. Just working on the functional bodybuilding. I think it is a phase that's become quite popular out there. I think with myself, the first guy that I actually used his program as well was Marcus Philly. If you don't know who he is, he's probably came up with the term himself, but I did follow one of his programs, and I love the way he puts the combination of different workouts together as well. And he does emphasize as well as like using bodybuilding, but as a aerobic type of workout, and it does work together. So just to recap for today, what we just went through. The first thing that we're talking about is putting on functional muscle mass instead of just looking good muscle mass, useless muscle mass that I like to call it. And also the different programs. If you want to start with the 5x5, then we're going into also the aerobic type of superset bodybuilding workout. And then the highest level of that would be a fully functional type of bodybuilding program where you're doing a high output power movement with a full maximum strength movement as well together in a workout. And that's how I would do that for functional bodybuilding. Thank you for joining me today. If you found any value in this episode, please like or share. If you're on YouTube, please share the video if you found any value. And that's it from me, and I'll catch you in the next one.